This week we're finishing The Trouble with Kings by Sherwood Smith, otherwise known as This is an al dente Spaquel in a red reduction sauce.
Hi readers, I'm Jordan.
And I'm Katie.
And welcome to Not Another Heroine Season 2, the podcast where we break down the best and worst fictional heroines of any genre. Because that's what we do now.
Want to see what's next on our TBR list? Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Instagram for a sneak peek at upcoming content or to help us pick our next book.
Okay, readers, we are back for part 2 of The Trouble with Kings. This is going to be part 2 and part 3 because we have decided
we need to end it.
We need to end it because when the book stops being fun for us to kind of talk about, even the books that we dislike, like there has to be something to keep us going, and this one is just kind of lackluster.
Yeah. I think part of the problem is I read this in the throes of like no sleep, postpartum hormones. So I know I read this book, but I could not tell you shit about it. Like I have impressions, but there are shadow creatures in my brain, and that is So I'm the worst conversational partner during this episode.
So I'm just gonna be watching Katie like a hawk, readers, and going to we're just gonna volley back and forth depending on the scene. This is my second read of this book, so it's a little bit clearer for me. So I will kind of take the reins, and we'll see where this horse takes us.
Nay.
What the?
I don't know. It's right. Don't come at me.
You have seen Ever After now?
Yes.
The scene at the very end at the ball where she's wearing the horse costume.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you just did.
100%. I'll accept that. That'll be my dunce hat for the day.
That was the most delicate little nay. Okay, where we left off is Jewel and Fillion had escaped the Groskin encampment and returned to Fillion's wealthy household. They're attending parties and poetry readings and shit like that. It's very
miscellaneous shit.
It's very boring. So they decide that they are going to go to this poetry reading. They're invited by this dude named Lord Spaquel. I'm pretty
Spaquel.
I don't think that's how you say his name.
I'm gonna guess not.
Not like the plaster, but he's kind of a grimy, slimy, social climbing, trying to get his own motivations rolling. So Fillion's like, well, we kind of have to go. Like, this is the thing that we have to do. So let's go to this poetry reading. And Spaquel.
Spaquel.
We're going to have a different pronunciation every time.
A little, a little letter. A little flavor.
A little trill on the end. Spaquel. Well, Spaquel. Oh my God.
Sounds like a pasta.
We are going to lose our fucking minds on this book.
They go to a poetry reading. Some old women kind of try some things. It's awkward. They're not very good at poetry. There's one woman, I think, that does some like good poetry, and they're like, dang, that pops. And then they get kidnapped.
Again.
Again. Fourth time?
Fifth time?
Fifth time?
Fourth. I don't know. It's a lot of kidnapping.
I have questions about their, the guards in all of these locations.
How are all these kidnappings happening? Because
I have questions.
They're in the middle of a garden, in the middle of a royal city castle complex.
Yeah.
And Jason and his cronies just show up in wearing disguises and all right, get in the carriage. And they throw Jewel and
kidnapped
Fillion in the carriage, and they don't get stopped because they're in disguise.
I was about to make a really bad joke. They need to bump up security.
Yes.
I have questions.
Anyway, they're en route. They stop and camp. The Jewel goes off with another group.
Yeah.
And it's just Jason and one lone guard and Fillion.
Markham, right?
Markham. Yeah.
I love
Markham is the best character in this book. We haven't talked about Markham a lot. We'll get to him.
He deserves a little something.
So Fillion is riding this carriage, and then all of a sudden everything goes black again. And she wakes up and there are flames everywhere. The carriage is turned on its side. So she kind of crawls out of this burning carriage. She looks around there's bodies everywhere. And then there's Jason, unconscious, lying on the ground, bloody. She's like, well, this is a lot.
This is a lot. Yeah.
That's kind of her reaction, though. It's very unfazed. All right, I guess I should do something.
Yes. The spreading flames.
So she like takes like 3 steps away from the fire and she's like, oh, God damn it. And so she turns back. She cannot leave Jason there despite being kidnapped by him, despite thinking he's still the bad guy. This is kind of cool.
I love those parts.
I know. This is probably the highlight scene of the book.
It makes sense because I remember it.
Yeah. Well, then you go. You describe this.
Yeah. He's like, I think she catches him like breathing or he mumbles something and she's like, God damn it. And so she like drags him away. And I don't even know how she does it. And I think he doesn't know how she does it either. But they get away from the flames. Does someone save them?
She tries to tug him and can't. She rolls him onto a cloak.
Yeah.
And then she drags the cloak, which is actually, if you've ever had to like drag someone, that's the best way to do it.
Oh, I've moved furniture that way. But yeah, but people too.
Yeah.
Lifesaver.
Yep.
Don't other people find them though?
Eventually, but they have this really kind of cute moment first.
So
she drags him away. Like they get shelter in this cave.
Yeah.
And he's bleeding out. He's got like a gut wound and like he's holding it and he's kind of looking there like, well, gonna die. Why don't you just escape now? And she takes off her little lace collar and like washes it out in the rain, folds it up and like puts it on his wound. And it's just so fucking cute.
I agree. It's like, that's not gonna do much, girl, but I love it.
It's a very Fillion move,
100%.
a very princess move.
Yes.
And he's kind of watching her do this whole thing like, well, that's cute.
It's like, God damn it. Don't make me like you.
And then they have this back and forth. I loved this dialogue between them. And he's got a knife and she takes it. And I forget the instigator of this, but he tells her like, you're going to regret not killing me.
Oh, yeah. Because she is kind of fucked up about that for the rest of the book, isn't she?
Yeah. He says this line like, well, like you got to use that on me or something, or you need to escape. Like, why are you helping me?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll regret this if you let me live. That's not the quote exactly. But she's like, well, what does he mean? Like, what's he going to do? Like, if he lives? And like, she just doesn't get it. So she runs away again,
Fair.
Leaves him like bandaged and stuff. And she kind of knocks herself out, right?
Yeah.
Like,
the girl does not know how to run.
No.
Yeah. Because then she immediately finds herself back in their custody and they go into that like house.
Ooh, custody.
I know. Wow. Don't know where that came from. Woo. Yeah. Because then it's raining and they stop in a little like rundown cottage and she's soaked to the bone and he's soaked to the bone and
Markham, the lone guardsman, is taking care of them both.
Yeah. Cutie pie.
He's the real hero of the story.
Honestly. I don't remember anything after that. That was the end of my consciousness.
Well, so she gets a fever. They're both really sick from the wounds and from the fire and everything. And it comes to light that they were ambushed by Garion's So originally at the poetry reading, Spaquel was supposed to sell them out to Garion. Garion was going to kidnap Fillion and Jewel. Jason intercepted all of this and like, nope, we're going to just step right in there and that's mine. And so he prevents that, which is a good thing. And they eventually go back to Jason's castle, which is
your Surveith or
something. It's a fortress. It's kind of dark and gloomy, and she kind of expects to get thrown in like a dungeon. Like, all right, they're gonna hold me for ransom. But she's shown into this beautiful like chamber, and it's like heavy tapestries and like hearth fires and like tea.
And she's given instruments to play.
Yeah, and so she realizes she likes it here.
She's like, this is kind of banging.
She's like, nobody's bothering me. Like, I can play music all day and like I can eat whenever I want. Like, this is fantastic. Like, why would I want to leave?
It's like not reverse Stockholm syndrome, but like she's put into a better situation. She's like, this is kind of like, this is nice.
Yeah. And Jason doesn't bother her. He kind of like lets her do her own thing. And it's really nice. Yeah. Like, he's not hovering. She's like, and she eventually seeks him out. I love this part. So she's been here for a few weeks. And so she's thinking of her situation. She's like, well, my brother hasn't responded yet. Like I like it here, but like, I also want to go home and see my dad. Yeah. So she goes and requests an audience with the king and she's escorted right away, very politely. And she says, so, hi, Jason, I was thinking about the situation and how about I just give you my money? Like, I control my own estate. Like, I can't give you the lands, but you can have all my money. And his response is perfect. Like, he says, well, thank you, but that would take too much like bureaucratic process, and I don't have that kind of time, so I just need the ransom, but I appreciate your generosity.
I forgot about this. I love that his answer was literally like, I get that that's way easier, but like that's gonna take way too fucking long.
Yeah.
I ain't got no time for that.
And she's like, well, okay. And she goes back to her room and plays music again.
Hangs out.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I do remember about this that I kind of loved was that she brings her harp out, I think, onto the patio. And she's always like, yeah, there's so many like people out in the garden. Like it's like the fucking like middle of winter right now. Like
This
why are there
girl
so
is
many
fucking
people?
oblivious.
100%. And then the maid is like, oh, people are like walking outside because they like enjoy listening to you to play. And she's like, what? Like you're basically a professional harpist. Like obviously people are enjoying your music.
And there's like crowds of people gathering. Yep. And so Fleon's like, well, I'm going to play no matter what I do. So I might as well play out on the balcony still. So she rolls her little harp out and she's like, and it's fine.
I love it.
Yeah.
What a dumbass.
Yeah, pretty much. And then Jewel comes back to the castle and she's throwing a little temper tantrum, but you kind of get the vibe that like Jason's the responsible older sibling and like Jewel and Jamie are just the fuck ups who don't know what's going on in the world.
Yup, 100%. And Jason is just a beleaguered older sibling. Yeah. Like, can you guys just fucking stop?
Exactly. And finally,
I'm trying to save the world right now.
Fillion's brother finally sends a letter back for the ransom note, and he's like, no.
Stay there.
Fillion's like, he said no? Like, what the fuck, man? Like, this isn't cool. No. Yeah, so she's kind of flabbergasted a little bit by that response, and she doesn't know what's going to happen. So finally, Jason pulls Jewel and Fillion into a meeting. And then we get to discuss this very interesting character called Elandria.
Yeah.
Is that how you say her name?
I think so. I just saw the letters and some kind of sound similar to that came out.
Let's talk about Elandria.
Big sigh. Because this is the younger sister, right?
Elandria?
Or is this the queen?
No, this is the younger sister.
Okay, yeah. Queen, cool, bangs, younger sister, you got me fucked up.
So Elandria is thought to be the most beautiful woman in the world. She
Big
is
sigh.
The princess of this very wealthy, all-powerful kingdom to the north. Her sister, Queen Tamara, is in charge. Rockin' bitch. Like, she's got things going on.
I love that Queen Tamara, I think she had a husband at one point and he died, and now she just has like a live-in girlfriend. Yeah. And she's like, accept it.
Yeah, just deal with it. Like, there's no drama about it. She's just like...
She's like a poet, too. It's like, I love that for you.
It's very sweet. But Elandria is beautiful, and Fillion's brother is in love with her. Garion is in love with her. Like, all of these men are talking about fucking Elandria, and like, we all know a girl like that. Like, let's just be real.
I love that Jason has the trump card, though.
Oh, I know. So Jason pulls Fillion and Jewel into meeting, and he's like, so he pulls out this little necklace, and there's a woman's ring on this necklace. And he's like, I've been secretly betrothed to Elandria for 9 years. And
that's some big dick fucking energy right there.
What were you like 9 years ago, man? Like,
he didn't have the mustache.
No.
That's what did it.
Yeah. And so in exchange for helping her seize power from her sister, like, we're going to get married. So I want you, Fillion and Jewel, to go visit this country as like diplomats and like take this ring with you and find Elandria and say you either come back with this ring or you don't. Okay.
I love too that he didn't give her any like flowery poetry of like, I love you and you're beautiful and like we finally had the time. He's like, take this and come back or not, bitch. Like, make a decision.
It's a very Jason move.
Yeah, no emotion.
Yeah.
It's very like Mr. Darcy coded.
Yeah.
Like a little bit on the spectrum.
So Jewel and Fillion are like, well, parties. I think that's a cool town to visit. Let's do this. And so in exchange, like Fillion, like he promises Fillion, like, I'll let you go home. No, done deal. We're done after that. Okay. Not bad. So she and Jewel get their like I cannot fucking speak today.
Entourage.
Lord.
Well, I mean, you're literally like rereading this entire story for your audience here, which is me. I'm not the audience. I am the readers in this.
Okay. They make it to this kingdom. They're welcomed. They have their formal like visit with Queen Tamara. We get this really cool interaction with Queen Tamara. And then Fillion like puts the pieces together. She's like, oh, by coming here and talking to Elandria, What are you giggling about?
She's so stupid.
She is a little dumb. She's like, oh, so I'm trying to overthrow this really cool queen, and I don't think I like that.
She gets all the way there.
Before she's like,
wait a second, this is treason.
Yeah, and she's actually doing a good job, and the people love her, and their economy is solid, and they have a really good military, and
the princess is kind of a bitch. Like,
Yeah.
why am I doing this?
Yeah. So Elandria,
But then she doesn't do anything to fix it.
No. So Elandria like avoids these two, like Jewel and Filion, for like weeks. They are in this country for a long time before like Filion's like, God damn it, let's get this over with. I'm over the balls, because Jewel is having the time of her life. She's flirting with all the boys. She's going to the party. She's very popular. And Filion's over it. She's like, nope, no more. So she and Jewel corner Elandria at like a swan watching event, which is the most princessy bullshit I've ever heard.
Yes.
And they're like, hey, you see this ring? And then Elandria, who's kind of very cool, like just chill, feels like the power player in every single event.
Yeah.
Like, it's interesting the way she's described, though. Like, physically, is not what you would expect of, like, the most beautiful woman in the world. Like, normally you get, like, platinum blonde or, like, red hair or black hair. And we have, like, oh, like a chestnut-haired princess with brown eyes. But, like, the combination of her features is she's just very, like, beautiful.
Yeah.
And, like, you can picture people like that, who their features are just, like, unnervingly symmetrical.
They're, like, nice to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, like, I thought that was a nice take on designing a princess. And so Elandria is like, let's have a chat in private. And so,
because doesn't Jewel have the ring on, and she like does some fan thing, and Elandria is like, oh fuck, like, I need to talk to y'all.
Yeah. So she's like, let's go look at some trees. For real. Like, that's the invitation. Let's go look at the massive trees here. They're not coated at all.
Massive trees. That's how he got her 9 years ago. His massive tree. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Anyways, trees.
What is happening right now?
I don't know.
Okay, so the massive tree event. They're going camping. They are literally going camping. Yeah. They pack up some tents. There's another like set of people, like a Cole entourage that travels with them. They go to see the trees. They set up tents in the middle.
Yeah, it's like along a river bend.
Yeah.
But they stay there a little bit.
River bend. Yeah. Pocahontas.
Oh, okay. I feel you.
You triggered like a Disneyism in me.
That's fair.
Sorry.
Yeah. I feel like you're like at any times like 25% Disney princess, and it just like, whoop, I have to sing. It just like takes over your body.
Yeah, actually it does.
You're like a sleeper agent.
When I'm out walking and I see like a little sparrow on a fence, like I'm like, oh.
It kind of reminds me, what is that movie with the red-haired chick who crawls out of the sewer? Yeah, that's you. You're like, oh, these little birds will help me get dressed. Sorry.
Thanks, Katie.
Anyways, they're on the riverbed.
Well, okay, so before they set up camp, they stop at an inn, and Elandria invites Jewel and Filion to have like a little discussion over tea to talk about this whole offer. And
this is all new information to me. Please continue.
Oh my goodness. So as they're drinking the tea, Filion notices that Jewel is getting very talkative, and Elandria is very like, that's interesting. Tell me more. And it's because there's this drug called Kinthis, which is also, this is the same universe as like Crown Jewel. So the magic is the same, like the potions are the same. So Kinthis is like a truth-telling serum. And so there's Kinthis in the tea. And Elandria starts questioning Jewel. And Jewel's like, oh my gosh, I don't know anything except you need to marry my brother or not. I don't care. But like, that's all she knows. So thankfully, Jason didn't really tell them anything. So the Kinthis isn't doing. And Filion's, all right, I guess I'm not drinking this tea. Elandria notices that Filion isn't. She's so adept. She's very social and very smart. She's like not making a big deal out of it. So she puts all of her attention on Jewel. And Jewel starts chattering about how in love she is with Filion's brother.
It made me sad because it was like one of those like against her will, and she probably didn't want to tell anyone that.
Because like her brother isn't like, he isn't super dashing. He's just the future king. Like that's all he's got really going for him.
Yeah. He's just a nice guy.
He's just a nice guy.
I like a nice guy.
And Jewel's like, well, I like him though. Yeah. And he doesn't like me because I'm Jewel.
Filion's like, that's my brother.
Ew. So that little interaction happens, and like Fillion is getting a little suspicious, but whatever. They continue on to their campsite, set up tents. And Fillion, like, in the last, 100 pages of this story, she's kind of having these weird back and forth internal, I don't know, conflicts over Jason. She's, why do I feel upset about him having this like secret engagement? I don't think I like that, but whatever. And why am I thinking about Jason all the time, even with his stupid little mustache? It's a very, very subtle, like, okay, the romance is brewing, but it is so understated.
It kind of reminds me of Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy, where she's like, I'm not interested in him. It's like, what is he doing? Like, what is he wearing? Where is he going? His estate? Like, let's go snoop around. I don't like him, though. Psh, what?
Exactly. I don't think you're going to be satisfied with this book if you're here for the romance. Like, I wasn't. But it's there. It's just very minor. And so they get to this tent little city thing, and she's like, oh, fuck, god damn it. Jason's going to show up. They're going to get engaged. I'm going to go home. It's whatever. So Fillion is kind of like disgruntled a little bit, and they're all waiting for Jason to show up because apparently like Elandria was very non-committal about taking back the ring. So they suspect that there's this secret meeting that was arranged 9 years ago, and Jason's going to show up with his men, and Elandria's just there waiting. And so they're all in this campsite, and then some horses gallop in, and there's fucking Garion, red-haired little bitch.
Yes, accurate.
Yeah, and this is the moment where like I feel like Fillion's like, oh, I get it now.
Oh no,
this is bad.
Oh no.
And she's like hiding in the bushes at some point, and she overhears a conversation between Elandria and Garion, and Elandria's like, I love you. Help me kick my sister off the throne. And Garion's like, fine,
I guess.
Whatever. Like, you're hot.
Whatever, you're hot. But yeah, that was basically
They catch Fillion eavesdropping on them, and like Garion gets really bitchy, and he's like, well, oh, by the way, I told your dad that you got kidnapped and he keeled over and died.
I forgot that this just poor Gillian's like, what? He really did just like announce that her father died.
And good job on Fillion. Like, she hears this and she shuts down. She like goes into this like gray state of not processing anything.
Yeah.
She goes back to her tent, lays down. No one can talk to her. She's like not listening. And meanwhile, we didn't really talk about this before, but when she was in the kingdom, like visiting Queen Tamara and Elandria, she started doing self-defense lessons.
Oh, yeah.
Which was really cool. That was like a gimme thing. Like, oh, we need a badass heroine. Here's some sword lessons, whatever.
Sword lessons, whatever.
So she kind of knows how to defend herself, but she takes this opportunity to be like, that fucking whore. So she takes a knife, and in the middle of the night, she sneaks into Garion's tent, and she's like, I'm gonna kill this bitch.
This scene was unhinged.
Yeah, I'm like, we went from 0 to 60 with Fillion.
0 to 100. 0 to 60 to 0 to 60. Like following the speed limit.
I don't know what's
I feel like car stats. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
She tries to kill him.
She has the knife. She raises it over his head. He is sound asleep, and it's raining, and a drop of water just like falls from her wrist onto his face. And just as she's about to stab him, he wakes up, grabs her wrist. They have this wrestling match fight type thing. He pins her down, raises his arm up, and like is about to stab her in the heart, and it lands and stabs her on the shoulder because something got thrown at him.
Oh yeah, Markham threw like a rock or some shit.
Yeah, and it jars him just enough for Fillion to get hit, but she has the opportunity to escape. She runs out. Meanwhile, her friend Jewel is sound asleep in the tent, and Fillion's like, I'm gonna get on that horse and ride away for the 10th time in this book.
Yeah.
And she escapes. She's like making camp one night, like she's running somewhere. I don't know if she's going back home or going to Jason's place or whatever. But Markham saves her because Markham was traveling with them both, with Elandria and all them. And Markham rescues her, bandages her shoulder, and then takes her back to Jason.
Wasn't there something where she tries to escape but gets caught again? And then she finds out something about Jason, and she's like, I just want to go home now.
That's next.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot that happens in this last section of the book. So she leaves Jewel behind. Jewel is basically in Garion's custody.
Yeah. She just dipped out. No thoughts.
She's got this knife wound in her shoulder. They make it back to Jason, and Jason's like very kind of stoic, but like, what the fuck just happened? Like,
Yeah.
you tried to kill Garion?
Yeah,
it's a little weird. So she takes time to recover. Her and Jason have this weird kind of back and forth, like, well, what did you mean by like that first time you said I'd regret not killing you? And Jason's very cryptic about it and like doesn't get the answer he wants, and she doesn't get the answer he wants, and you're like, they're just dancing around this shit. And then they get a ransom note for Jewel, and it's Garion saying, you better exchange Jewel for Fillion.
Yeah.
Or else. This is where it gets real dumb.
It kind of does. It's just exhausting a little bit at this point. Like, there's so much ransom that
there's
who has who.
Like 1 or 2 kidnappings per book is all I ask.
Yeah. This has 15.
Yeah. They set up like a rescue for Jewel. So they stage Fillion on a horse. There's Garion holding a knife to Jewel's throat. Fillion freaks out despite knowing that there's backup all around her, lunges off the horse, runs to Garion, takes her, throws Jewel away, and now Fillion is captured again by Garion for the 3rd time.
Yeah.
He takes her back to his castle. Elandria is there. Elandria is an ally, but not an ally.
Yeah.
Speeding through this.
I will say it was cute because didn't Jason say some shit like, don't get off your horse, it's like too dangerous? There's some like, I care about you vibes in this.
Yeah, there's like, yeah.
It gives you a little bit of a little crumb of like, oh, cute. And then it's, and then
Jason doesn't want to exchange her. Like, that's the start of it. Like, oh, he cares about her. Oh, there's the romance that's been missing for the whole book. Elandria helps organize Fillion's escape again with Jason and Jamie's help because the brothers are reunited and they're on good terms for absolutely no reason that we understand. She's rescued. They're all camping again, and Elandria is like getting fuck this bitch.
Yeah.
Because she's like on no one's side but her own.
Yeah. Because they like are sitting around a campfire and she like sits next to him and starts like cuddling up. And it's like, I would have fought a bitch. I'm sorry.
Like Fillion's just sitting there like, I have a stab wound. I've been kidnapped. And like, I like him, but I don't know what that really means.
Because this is when she's like, I've had enough. I want to go home.
And this was so relatable because she like, there's no drama with Fillion, which I think is what makes you get through this book, which is there's no unnecessary like antics.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason. She very much stays in character. So she, like you said, she's done. She's like, I'm emotionally taxed. I just want to go home. My dad's dead. I need to spend time with my brother. So she like privately talks to Markham and she says, hey man, like you can act on your own will. Like you have your own authority. Yes. Can you just take me home?
Oh, God. It's like the little kid at camp that gets like a little bit bullied and it's like their first night away from home and they're like, I just want to go home. It's like, Fillion, come here.
So Markham is the best. He puts her on a horse and takes her to her brother's castle. And there she stays for like 3 weeks. And she's okay, but not okay.
Yeah. Markham gives me, who's the big servant from the Crow one? Grace Draven. Master of Crows.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. He gives me those vibes.
Yeah.
Like steady, the friend, but is like low-key just fucking killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like him.
He saves the story.
Anyway, sorry.
We are in the home stretch. We're almost there. So she's been spending, a few weeks at home. She's kind of melancholy and it's not great. And her brother's like, hey, like, let's throw a masquerade ball. Like, let's lift your spirits. Readers, it's worth it for this scene.
Yes.
I'm just saying. Kind of gave me vibes from the same ball scene from Crown Duel.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like
it's the same like
echo
markers of that story and this story. So she gets dressed up. They have a masquerade ball and like she's walking through the crowd of people in the ballroom and she comes across this tall dude wearing like a plumed hat and like a cape. He holds out his hand. They start dancing and thank God like she's intelligent and smart because she's I recognize that fucking mustache anywhere.
The mustache.
Yeah. And she's like, well, Jason, what are you doing here? And then they proceed to spend the rest of the evening dancing together. Oh. They confess their love. They decide to get married. And that's the end. Pretty much. There's a little bit more filler in the background, but
we did it.
We did it. That's the trouble with kings, which really should be called the trouble with princesses because this is really about 3 different princesses.
That is true. Kings is plural, but
it's really just King Jason.
Who the other people?
Yeah.
Huh. That is true. Who are these men?
Or we could call it Kidnapping 101. Like
we should have counted. That would be a fun drinking game.
Let's do that.
Take a shot every time someone's kidnapped
our
dead.
Our closeout end of season episode. Yeah. We'll revisit this one and see how many kidnappings we can count.
We're gonna have to count because there is more than 5, and there's more than like you even remember.
Yes.
That should not happen. I'm sorry. Sherwood Smith, what happened?
This isn't a long book.
No. So I want to know the ratio too. Like how many kidnappings per page is like one kidnapping per 30 pages.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad.
No.
Not my favorite. Probably not going to read it. I might read it again. But you know those like guilty pleasure.
I think it's tough though because we're comparing it against Crown Jewel.
That's true.
And if we compare it against some of the shit that gets published today.
Oh, no, 100%.
It's up there. Like, it's solid. If we didn't have a baseline of like some other really good books by the same author.
Yeah. Because this immediately triggered me to read When He Was Wicked. And then I immediately read The Heir and the Spare because they're all kind of like similar-esque. The Heir and the Spare is closer to this than When He Was Wicked. But it's a good, I want more of this kind of intrigue.
I think that's because even though while it kind of comes across as a first draft, the style is so good. Like the vocabulary is so good. Like
you don't notice until you think about it.
Yeah. It's just the design is a little like needs some work. And I think part of the problem with a lot of the books that fall flat is just the writing is bad. Like the skill level of the writing is not good, despite the plot being solid.
Yeah. Like you said, like I would take this over some of the bullshit out there any day.
Our next book is The Winner's Curse.
Fuck yeah.
I cannot.
I forgot we're doing it. Now I'm excited.
Okay, so a little preview for like the rest of the summer, what's to come. We're going to do The Winner's Curse. We probably will do all 3 books.
Hell yeah.
Yes, we are. Okay, and then we have the best moment of the entire season, readers.
Hell yeah.
Howl's Moving Castle.
Hell yeah.
And reading it in fancy dresses.
Hell yeah.
And teacups.
Hell yeah.
Lots of alcohol.
Hell yeah. Alcohol in the teacups. Getting wasted.
Welcome back, readers. We are back. This is Not Another Heroine. Thank you for joining us with Trouble with Kings. From our shelf to yours.
We'll see you on the next page. Hi, readers. If you'd like to help us pick our next book, send us a message on Instagram.
Or if you'd like to just listen, we post new episodes every Monday and Wednesday on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. Thanks for listening.
Bussin'.